They are literally right now changing our Bibles. And by changing, I mean they're taking out entire verses.
So I want to talk about King James onlyism a little bit more. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I feel like I'm relatively qualified to talk about it because I used to be King James only, and I left that movement for specific reasons. I want to give you guys a little bit more detailed information as to why newer translations are removing scripture. So whenever you have a Greek New Testament, that Greek New Testament gets compiled through a practice called textual criticism, which is a discipline, it's a historical science, basically. What people do is they look at the available evidence, the Greek manuscripts, and they construct a Greek New Testament on the basis of those manuscripts. Erasmus is responsible for the Textus Receptus, which is what the King James, like I said, New Testament is translated from. He was using manuscripts that were not older than the 11th century. That shouldn't concern you too much. It's not like a fault that Erasmus had. It was the manuscripts that they had discovered at that point. Skip forward 500 years later, and we have a lot more manuscripts discovered. We have something like 6,000 Greek manuscripts of the New Testament, and that's not even touching the Old Testament. And so in 2025, we are more aware of what a Bible would have looked like in the 4th, 5th, the 3rd, the 2nd century than we were 500 years ago because of the discoveries we've made. And so when we look at the manuscript history across these 58 to 6,000 manuscripts, and we look at what the manuscripts say from the early church versus Erasmus's 11th through probably 14th century manuscripts, we find that certain verses are missing. What that tells us is that these are likely later additions. So scriptures aren't being removed, verses are being removed that were likely never a part of the original autographs. The autographs are like the actual copies that the apostles penned or, spoke and somebody that was assisting them penned. Those are the autographs. And so the newer translations, when you're talking like ESV, RSV, every translation has their respective issues, but they're going to be more accurate, especially in matters of like verse count, than the King James Bible.